If I made you uncomfortable, good. I ain't shrinking no more to make you feel tall. I was always the room, the light, the table. Now I'm acting like it. Tired of being humble in the wrong places. Tired of acting quiet just to spare faces. They call me too much, now I know why. They feared the power behind my why. I used to second guess my glow. Now I walk in like I own the show. Cut ties with guilt, kiss shame goodbye. Now I say no and don't explain why.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome
to
Courage to Talk. Are you not very talkative today?
I am. It's all like a rhythm, but you know it's so cold outside.
I know.
Maybe my voice is just.
Are we still in Florida?
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are.
But talking to other people from everywhere else, it seems like we've got it good.
It's been cold, guys.
So, yeah. But we have quite the show. And with that, Linda.
Yes.
Would you like to quote me?
Certainly, we'll do that. Okay, so the quote for today is, being a part of a victim transition to survivor is the most rewarding feeling one could ever experience.
It truly is, because you get to see what you are capable of, and you realize everything that you were afraid of while you were in this victimhood mentality, it was nothing to fear. And you realize how much strength you have within you, inner, outer you, and getting through that, walking those steps, is a totally different mindset. You get to know yourself at your weakest and at your strongest. And I think that's survival in itself.
Wow. I can understand what Allie is going through to some extent.
And that's why after our last show, Linda, first of all, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, it was a challenge for me too. Plus I had bad dreams.
Yeah. Second of all, the inhumane way that these people deal with kids is unconscionable to most people. And now I can understand why they had a hard time letting go all the Epstein files. And now the Diddy files is going to be next. Most of us cannot even comprehend that I don't even know, the animalistic way that these kids were treated. And that's what this show is going to be about, and we're going to talk about it.
You don't understand what people do. Have you seen that picture of there's like a little baby on the floor? I'll post it. I will probably get blocked on here again if I put it on my story. But I know you guys have seen this picture. There's a picture of a baby. They got a picture of a bunch of kids tied to a wall. It's actually an auction. They're tied to a wall, and they're hanging on the wall. That's another form of an auction. Some auctions are very pretty. Some you get to stand. Some you got to be naked. I've had some really weird auctions. Some you're tied to a wall, like produce or like retail. And basically, like you're picking a t-shirt or you're picking clothes. Buyers come through wherever you're at, wherever they put you.
I would like to warn everybody, please, if you have kids next to you, this is when you ask them to exit the room. Even though this is hard to hear, you have to understand and hear it in order to understand what these kids are going through. There's kids that are going through this now. This girl was saved, but there's plenty of kids that are going through it now. Our government has been fining almost, how many kids, a month or a week?
Well, actually, it's right now they've saved over 100,000 children already, and that's according to Tom Howell under the Trump administration. That's how many they saved already.
And this is an $80 billion dollar industry. So we can all imagine how many kids are still in the tunnels, how many kids are still being sold as sex slaves, and how many auctions of these are still going. So please listen, make sure your kids are not with you.
And they literally like, okay, there's a white kid, there's a black kid, there's an Indian kid, there's a girl, there's a guy. They check how big your dick is, they check how much space your vagina has, they check your teeth, they check your anal cavity, they check everything. They have a taste. They walk into a room and they have basically like how you have, if you walk into a car lot and you're like, can I turn on the car? Can I sit in the car? Can I open the door? Can I sit in the seat? That's literally what's going on in an auction. For children, for 6-year-olds, for 7-year-olds. They walk into an auction and they will say, like, I will buy for a test sample of 2 fingers. I will buy for a
Now imagine they are literally talking about kids.
As if they are property. Yeah.
This is not what this world. We as adults must take the responsibility. If we didn't before, we should take the responsibility now of number one, who we hire into office. Not just our president, our local. We should be involved in community watches. We should be involved in what's happening around us with our neighbors' kids, with everything that is going on the criminal side of the activities in the neighborhoods we live in.
Yeah, I mean, your local neighborhood watch, that's an organization that's connected to the police department or sheriff's department that you can actually participate in. Because when you hear a lot of the gory details that Allie is sharing, that's because she's seen it. And for a youngster to have seen things like that is just unconscionable.
And well, as we go further into this, you will see how important and why it's so important for you to be involved. Because a lot of the politicians, a lot of the police, a lot of the sheriffs, a lot of the firefighters are in this. The people that these kids were used to going to be saved are right now the ones taking them once they come in and bringing them back to the people that are trafficking them.
So you figure, what do I do? So if the police are involved, and the fire department involved, and people that you trust are involved, then you have to unite together as a small group and go together to these entities like the sheriff's department until you get an answer, because it's the unity that we have in the communities. The neighborhood watch group, see something, say something. We said this time and time again. Our children, your children, other people's children. It doesn't matter, black, white, Spanish. They all being taken. All the children are being taken.
And not only that, the very most important, top importance organization in that community, Child Protective Services, you will learn that they are part of the ones that are selling the kids out.
Queen for Courage is another option. Contact us. We'll work through the system to get what you need to save a child.
We've saved a few of the trafficked children under the age of 18. There are ways to go around it. If you do not know the system, let someone in charge handle it. Contact us and we'll put somebody in charge of that. Here we go.
A sample of a full hand. And they literally get to walk up to a 6-year-old and shove their hand up their cooch. For children, for 6-year-olds, for 7-year-olds. They walk into an auction and they will say, like, I will buy for a test sample of 2 fingers. I will buy for a test sample of a full hand. And they literally get to walk up to a 6-year-old and shove their hand up their cooch. That is what we're talking about. You have people, there's a picture of a baby, like maybe 5, 6 years old. It's a little baby boy. and he has like a leash around his neck, and they're walking him around, and he's butt naked, and he's on the floor. Okay, I know everybody has seen this picture before. The thing with that's also a test. Somebody will shit on the floor, somebody will piss on the floor, a guy will come on the floor, a female will masturbate and squirt on the floor, and they will bring in a child to walk through that, to play in it, to lay in it, to put on their body, to lick it, to see if they can walk around and act like a dog, to lick their shoe, to see how well their gag reflexes are. It's a gag reflex check. So if they come in and they're feeling horny and somebody starts jacking off on the floor and they bring in a child, they're going to check for that child's gag reflex by putting them in the middle of that and seeing if they throw up. That's what we're talking about. You get me now?
The sheer grossness of what we're hearing for any normal person. This is not something that happens in life. Let alone to find out we have singers, movie stars, politicians at the highest ranks, producers. And then, beyond that, we have people that we don't even know that are in power. Billionaires, millionaires, that live for this. That have amounts of money that will buy them any of this. They don't think of a child as a child. They don't see a child as a child. They see him as a commodity.
You know, Queen, as disgusting as it is and upsetting as it is, you know, I've been on the streets. I've been out there in the trenches, you know, and I've not seen this ever in my career. As a law enforcement officer working the streets, I worked the streets of Houston, 3rd Ward. I worked just in the trenches there, you know. I came to Palm Beach County and, you know, I've worked Belgrade and South Bay and several other places, and I've not seen this behavior. Treating children like property. Treating them like it's a commodity that I can purchase and then I can check their teeth and I can check their body parts to see if they function like I want them to. Yeah, exactly. Enough to get you excited.
And this is, we're talking about these people get excited off of this. They get aroused over this, over the torture of children. The younger, as you hear, the younger, the better. Just the fact alone that there are auctions, underground auctions, where you can go and test a child just like you would a car. And you don't need a license to do it. The only thing you need is the right amount of money to buy it. Because a lot of people that can't afford it, not only do they get to do what they want with these kids, but after they're done, they go down further, selling them for body parts, selling them for organs, selling them for sex slavery.
So they actually become a throwaway at any point when they're done with them, basically.
And most of them take them to the point where they're still kids, but I don't even know how to say this politely, with body parts and everything that can't be used anymore. So that's the ones they sacrifice for adrenochrome. And again, I want to explain to people what adrenochrome is.
Start it. Okay, we're going to continue this.
That's by putting them in the middle of that and seeing if they throw up. That's what we're talking about. You get me now?
But you have attorneys that are going to be working right now trying to get his money off on technicalities. So keep all that shit in mind.
They will take bars if say for instance they're saying like I don't want to penetrate a child today. I just want to participate in this auction, right? They will have something there that looks like a broomstick with a dildo on the end, and they will walk a child around and they will make them lay on the floor and they will take that and stab them with it vaginally, anally, whatever. And they see what the gag reflex is. They see if they cry. They see if they don't have a reaction. They see how well the drugs are taking, what drugs they're on, if they'll cry, if they'll be loud, if they'll moan, if they'll whatever. For the teenagers, it's a whole different ballgame. The teenagers, they will see if their body naturally gets wet. And then it's their fault. If your body will automatically start to respond to what's going on. If you don't, you're a defect. So ladies, if you stay dry, you're a defect. Then they really mess you up. Then that goes into bondage and torture fetishes. Then that goes into blood fetishes. Because if you're not ready, and if there's no way that they can just do whatever they want to do and just get it over with, then they put stuff on dildos, and then they make sure that when they rape a kid and they're bleeding, then that takes more power because there's adrenochrome, there's power, there's control, there's extra money because you're paying to get rough. There's so much shit that you guys are not.
The scary part of this is when these people are doing what they do, not knowingly, we support them. The Beyoncés, the Lady Gagas, the Ellen DeGeneres, their names that we will repeat again. We will keep repeating.
Celine Dion.
Because it's what's more horrific about this is not only that we know they're doing it, not only that it's in our face, not only that they're sticking it in our face,
yes,
and I'll remind you how, but the fact that we are supporting them by watching their shows, by falling into their traps, by supporting financially their concerts, their music,
That's
their
right.
everything.
That's right.
And then allowing our kids to go to their concerts, to be brainwashed by their music at a certain gigahertz, where our kids come home with headaches and things, bloody noses, not understanding what is going on. These are rituals that they're performing on stages now.
Yeah, you talk about Celine Dion. I mean, there's so much marketing material that goes out, her concerts. You know, I used to listen to her.
Me too.
Yeah,
we were fans.
I used to listen to her. But now that I know better, I do better. And that's not to support what she is behind, because she does the sacrifices. She does the satanic rituals. She does the adrenochrome.
And we will show you. Let's watch Allie and get through this. This is something people need to understand before we go on with this.
And after the auction, sometimes they don't even buy the kid, they just messed up. It's just a sample. So say for they go into a room and they rape the hell out of a 7-year-old with a dildo stick and a machine, and they turn the machine on and they say, oh, you know, she started bleeding, so now she's damaged. I don't want that one. Guess what? Now you're going to get beat by your pip because you started bleeding. You're going to get beat because you fucked up, and at first they were sampling you like they were going to buy you, and now they're not going to buy you. And then after that, then you go back to wherever. You got to wait until the next job, the next auction, the next whatever is going to be next. Now you got to go back to that, and now you got to deal with whatever they just did to you. So if you're bleeding, if If they spit on you, if they use bottles, if they use alcohol, if they use something else that made you sick, now you gotta go. There's no shower. There is no, I'm gonna go pee. There is no, I'm just gonna go wipe off. No, it don't work that way. You go back to wherever they were holding you. You sit there and you pray to God that you don't die, you don't get a disease, you don't get sick, you don't have an issue where you need help. You just gotta do it. And if you die, they snap your neck if they have to, or they just go bury you somewhere and it's over. The baby farms. This happens on baby farms too. You do understand that, right? Where they're holding babies, newborn babies, fresh out of the hospital babies. There are people who have fetishes on hearing a baby's ribs crack as they have sex with them. There are people who have a sick fetish and taking enjoyment in feeling their dick hit somebody's ribs. Do you get me now? There's men and females who feel like their dildos and their strap-ons are real, and they have enjoyment in hearing what it sounds like to break a child's ribs. You know that cracking sound of your knuckles? You know that sound? Yeah, it makes a crazy-ass sound when you break somebody's ribs. It makes you breathe in, too. It makes more pleasure for them when you breathe in. Ask them how I know.
You know, as Allie was talking, you know, she mentioned about, you know, strapping on a dildo and seeing if they can manage that, whether it's from the front or the back or however they do it. You know, it was interesting because we was doing some research just last week where the term came up, pagan.
Pagan, yeah.
Pagan.
We had to look that up.
We had to look up what is pagan because Diddy did it with one of his victims at pagan.
One of his guy victims.
Exactly.
I think it was Justin Bieber.
It may have been. It was one
I think it was Justin Bieber.
Yeah. It was.
We're short for words.
That's the same thing that Allie was talking about.
Like I said, normal people don't even know words like this. Don't even know what this vocabulary is. And unfortunately, the people we support, we don't even understand what extremes they will put a child, let alone an adult, a child through.
I go back to when we started because you plainly said it in your quote. Being a part of a victim's transition to a survivor. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
This aligned with things that you've experienced and that you've talked about and you feel there's real what's going on, and these children are having the same effect.
You know, Linda, talking to these girls when we first saved them, their mental state is critical.
Mm-hmm.
It's critical, and that's why we do the timeline as soon as we get to them.
Correct.
Because a lot of the times, the easiest way to deal with this is forgetting it. And it's not like they're in control of forgetting it or remembering it.
Mm-hmm.
Their brain just forgets it because it's easier to make the brain forget it than deal with it.
And deal with it, yeah.
I know as an adult, when I went through trauma, it took me a while to get over it and work on the PTSD to even talk about it. For a child, it's not even, it's hard to understand how they have to work through it. The typical victim, an adult, that is in a relationship, toxic relationship, abusive relationship, or an abusive marriage, physically, let's say abusive, they don't even realize, some until months, some until years later, that they're being abused, that this is not normal. Imagine a child's mind that has been through this since they were a baby. They don't even know that this is not normal. You have to refunction their brain, re-educate their brain through, at the same time, working through the PTSD while they're going through their own trauma. Because every time that child is saved, they need someone to work with them. Right now, one of the things that I always worry about, are we ready? What are we doing with the kids we're saving? We've now saved in the hundreds of thousands, which is amazing. Amazing. And I applaud this administration for having the ability, the chutzpah, and I'm going to say the balls to do this. Because of the people they're dealing with at the top that are the clients, the buyers, the sellers, the participants. But most of all, my question is, what and how are we equipped to help these kids? And this is why Queen for Courage is on top of exactly that. We do not use Band-Aids in no shape, size, or form. We work from the mental rehabilitation to the emotional rehabilitation to the physical rehabilitation and get them ready to live normal lives and be self-sustaining so they are not back to where they were, or God forbid, drinking themselves or taking drugs to their death, to the point of their death.
Yeah, the small children, they can't even process it. I can feel it right now that they struggle with, this is not what they're accustomed to. They don't know any different, but we know it's not normal. And so seeing that makes absolutely perfect sense that they got trauma. They have to deal with that trauma.
Absolutely.
You know, and having PTSD and then having problems with their life as they try to move on, going from victim to survivor, if they get out of it.
If they get out.
And that's what Allie speaks to, the ones that are still there.
Yep.
We got to fight for them.
What's going on with the children? Who's looking for the children? Who's concerned?
So we're going to continue with Allie. Just hear what she has to say as we finish up.
These are babies. There's baby farms. The hospital sells babies to these baby farms. They put them in the little bed that you see when you go visit the baby right after they're born and you're like, oh my God, it's a girl. No, they go put them in these little things and then people go down there and poke at them. People go down there and stick their fingers in them. People go down there and open their diapers and lick them. You remember that picture of the Pope sucking on a baby's dick? Do you remember that? You think that was a joke? You remember the rabbi? And the baby is screaming its head off? You think that's only what they do? So, there's people at a baby farm. There's nobody holding the baby and, oh my gosh, it's crying and I'm just going to dress it and feed it and clothe it and give it a bath. No, they're experimenting and they're poking at them. And they're seeing which babies can take sexual trauma.
This is what we have to work against. Against this, with this particular administration. And I'm going to say this. This has nothing to do whether you're left or right. This has nothing to do with the color of your skin. This has nothing to do with your religion. This has to do with humanity. This has to do with humanity unifying to keep its children safe.
They're our future.
They are our future.
And what it appears is that we're throwing them away.
And we're watching them be
discarded. Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
Because to be discarded is easily said when you're just discarded. But they are tortured. We will talk more about this on our future episodes because it's very important that you get involved. And we will have a lot of information on this and information how you can join us in fighting this fight.
Get involved. Absolutely.
Get involved. And we'll see you on our next show.
Thank you.
Thank you.